In this video, we'll show you how to replace your sway bar kit on this 2003 to 2011 Mercury Grand Marquis. This kit will be located in the rear of the vehicle. Now let's get started. Okay friends, let's get started on our job. The first thing you need to do is make your way in the trunk and turn off your air ride suspension. Now that we flip the switch, safely raise and support the rear of the vehicle. After that, you can gain access to your sway bar link and the sway bar. Now we're going to pay attention to the sway bar link where it connects onto the frame itself. Now this sway bar link has already been replaced. But for the original sway bar link, what you would want to do is use some locking pliers. Grab onto the center shaft of the sway bar link. While holding that in place, continue on to the upper nut. You'd want to remove that nut and the top bushing. This sway bar link's a little bit different, so what I'll do is I'll hold that top nut in place and then move down along the bottom to remove the center bolt. There goes that nut. We'll remove this. And now at this point, you would just leave this like this. Ours in particular is pretty much ready to fall apart. So I'll just go ahead and take it apart, but generally you just leave the sway bar link right on the sway bar itself. Remove that top nut with the bushing, and we can pull down the sway bar. Now we can follow that sway bar to where it connects to the differential itself. For this, you'll find a 10mm headed bolt that holds this bracket, holding the sway bar bushing in place. We'll remove this side over here, hold the bar, and move over to the other side of the differential to do the same exact thing. Now we can swing the sway bar down. Looking inside this area on the differential, you can see that you have slots. That slot needs to line up with the bracket as you move this out of place. We'll just go ahead and walk this forward. Give it a little wiggle, should slide right out. Do the same on the other side. And remove the sway bar with the bushings and brackets. Okay, let's start preparing our brand new sway bar. Have a look at the original. You can tell exactly where you need to be able to put your bushing and the sway bar bracket on each side of the sway bar. Take a little bit of lubricant. Lubricate the area where the bushing's going to need to go on the sway bar. With that lubricated, continue on to grabbing one of the bushings. You'll notice that you can take this and open it up a little bit. When you do that, you can slide it right over the bar. We'll just work that grease in. Continue on with the bracket. Pay attention to the positioning of the bracket itself on the bushing. You can tell that you have the side with the hole and the side with this area that goes into the groove on the differential. Let's make sure that we slide this directly on here. Once you have one side in place, do the exact same thing to the other. Back over at the vehicle, we're going to pay attention to the differential, where the sway bar bushing bracket needs to mount. You'll find that you have a metal clip on this area. We'll just go ahead and use a pick or a small screwdriver and get this right out of here. Once you've gotten that out of there, we're going to replace it with the brand new one. You'll notice that one side of it has an area that protrudes up. Let's take that and press it into position. Once you have one side of the differential done, do the exact same thing to the other. Let's continue on to installing the sway bar bracket. Slide that in there. Do the same on the other side. Take your brand new mounting bolts. We'll start those in. Once you have each of them started, snug them up. Once they're snug, torque them to 22 foot-pounds. Now we can start installing our sway bar links. To do this, we'll come down along the bottom half, remove the nut, and one of your rubber bushings. Take that sway bar link and put it in through the sway bar. Take the bushing that you just removed, we'll slide it in place on the sway bar link, and then continue on with the nut. We'll start that on a couple threads. Now up along the top, we'll remove our mounting nut and the upper bushing. Pause on this side, do the exact same thing on the other side of the sway bar. Once you have the other side in place on the sway bar, we can take the entire thing and start swinging it up into the proper position, aligning both sway bar links with the frame. With both of them in the proper placement, continue on to your sway bar bushing, and then put on your sway bar link nut. We'll start the other side on as well. Now we'll continue on by holding the center of the sway bar link with an 8mm wrench. You'll find a notch for it. After that, use a 13mm to snug up your lower mounting nut. With that snug, torque this to 177 inch-pounds. The next thing you would want to do would be to tighten the top nut of the sway bar link. As you can tell, there isn't much room in this area for a torque wrench. Go ahead and hold the center shaft with your 8mm and use a 13mm wrench to tighten this nut. Once you have one side of your sway bar links tightened, do the exact same thing on the other side of the vehicle. At this point, we have our sway bar kit fully installed in the vehicle. Let's make our way out from underneath. All right, now let's make our way back into the trunk. Find the air suspension switch, switch it to the on position. After you've done that, go ahead and close the trunk, take your vehicle for a road test. Make sure you don't hear any funny noises, and get yourself safely down to your local alignment shop. Aside from that, thanks for watching.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.